Well, hello. So I'm at the final hotel for this trip. I checked out of the hotel that I was at in central London and scheduled an Uber to come pick me up. And I got here maybe like an hour or so ago. I checked out at 11:20 and it's 2:25. I am so happy that I did it that way because London traffic is kind of crappy. I think because of the narrow lanes and just the number of people and buses and things, it's not great. And so here there's a shuttle that leaves, which I have to look at the schedule and also what terminal I'm going to because it goes to two different terminals. Thank you. So I just came down to have some lunch because I had a really light breakfast and found some other women that I was running my mouth talking to when I know I was supposed to be on a schedule because I got down to breakfast at like 10 o'clock and it ends at 10:30 or maybe a little before 10. I don't know, but I was cutting it. I mean, I had 30 minutes, but I also came across the Pandora store. It was like right in walking distance, and I saw that last night when I went out in search of some food and just to take a walk and kind of clear my head from everything that had happened. So let me tell you, it's so funny how solo travel is and the experiences that you have. What has been most rewarding and I guess powerful, fulfilling is the human interaction and talking to different people and learning about different cultures and things. And this is the first time that I've noticed how people in Britain, in the UK eat, and also some Australians, I think they eat like with the fork down and putting the stuff like on the knife. And I thought, wow, I can't remember how it was in Hong Kong and Thailand. I don't know that I paid attention, but I definitely noticed, being on the ship. And so anyway, at breakfast, I was sitting there and there was this black woman 2 tables away and she was sitting by herself. And I noticed because she was pretty and she had locks. So, you see your people. But what really got me was the way that she held her fork. And she held her fork like this. I said, that's my people. And so, of course, I went over there. She said, her name is Ingrid and she lives in North Carolina. So I went over there and talked to her, and she's traveling with her friend Janice, who is from the UK. I think that's what she said, but she lives in Nashville. And so I stood there talking to them. But it's amazing, the experiences and people and how the way somebody held a fork like, she's American. I know her. She's got locks. That's my people. And we just had a great talk. I told them that I'm a travel agent. They were very curious about the world cruise. I told them about South Africa. They've never been. Y'all, I am planning a trip to South Africa for women next year. I'm putting it out there right now. Frank and I talked about it when I was there, but I'm doing it. And this has been amazing. And so last night when I was out walking, I just thought, I'm not about to let this situation with the family overshadow all that I've accomplished, all that this trip has meant to me, all that you mean to me, the people that I've met along the way, the experiences, the growth that I had, choosing myself, working to be a better me, prioritizing myself. It has been awesome. And, the other thing that really is, I believe that there are no mistakes. And so yesterday when I was on Facebook, I came across a post from Ebony magazine, and it talks about still inviting family members to the cookout. Family members that, shouldn't be there. Basically, the title, I'm waiting, trying to get it to load. Oh, dang it. Of course, it's not going to load right now. It talks about deadbeat parents, sexual predators, and abusers. Ah, there it is. Okay, so it's... yeah, so it's... Ooh, this is bad. I might have to do this another way. It talks about deadbeat parents, sexual predators, and abusers are not to be invited. And I came across that yesterday, and it's like, wow. And so, in response to the video yesterday, you guys have been sharing your stories, your experiences, and I really appreciate it. Some of you have been like, don't, block her, your mom, and, but you understood. And somebody commented today about their situation and a cousin and who's disrespectful, and they've just made the decision not to be in events that this person is in, and I said, well, good for you. And it's unfortunate that you have to do that, because there are so many that condone that negative behavior, and it continues to be enabled. It's difficult, but something happened yesterday. My daughter FaceTimed me, and I talked about her in the video briefly. Thank you so much. Oh, it's so pretty. Thank you. Look at this Mai Tai. Oh my goodness, is that not gorgeous or what? So, cheers to a great trip. I'll get another one of those just because it's beautiful. But so anyway, when I talked to her, she said that I might get some new subscribers because her neighbor found out that I had a YouTube channel, and I think she, regularly talks about me to them, and they were in awe that I was doing this trip. And so when she said that, I said, oh, they're gonna get the business. And she said, well, yeah, I know all about it. And, and for the first time, she was appalled and not pleased by my aunt and my sister's behavior. And she finally, saw me and saw what I've been saying. She recognized the growth that I've had, because the narrative has been, I get upset or something. I don't know. And I've had a history of, getting upset, but the upset is like, I might yell. Okay, I'm not, Hulk smashing and, breaking furniture or things like that. And it's typically been in response to being wronged. And I understand that while I have the right to feel how I feel, sometimes the way that you choose to respond can really make or break the situation. And what I found was that when I would respond and yell and get upset, it took away the accountability from that person, and now they were only fixated on my reaction, not what they did to cause me to react that way. And that, was something that I had to work on to change, because I don't want to let people off because now I've, responded in a way that is anything other than, trying to bring about a reconciliation or understanding, but I don't want to add to the confusion. And so, I've worked hard to try to control my reactions, to try to, not get upset. I talked about being in fight or flight mode as baseline, and, working with my therapist, you have levels 0 to 5, and 5 is where you're, out of control and just, the point of no return. And I was living my life right at a 3. And so that didn't give much room to get mad and be able to still stay within control of my feelings, my reactions and things. And so, I worked hard. And so it was just really validating and warming that my daughter was like, this behavior is wrong. Like, you're coming down here and you don't want anything to do with her. You don't want to reconcile. You're not interested in that. She's tried to reconcile with you, tried to talk to you, but you're going to come down to her house and she's not there. And then, talking to my aunt, like, she said, I see what she's been talking about, all this time. And when the opportunity presents itself to reciprocate to her, you don't do it. You guys, that was a really big moment for me because, she saw what I've been saying all along. She said, they want to keep you in that space. They don't want to see, how you've grown. And you have to remember that you're doing the work. Don't stop doing the work. You're doing the work for you first and foremost. You aren't doing it for everybody else. You're doing it for you. And people may not always see your growth. They may not, give you applause, but continue to put in the work. Continue to show up because you're doing it for you. And if others can benefit from it, then that's a double win. And so it just really, really, it was nice, And my daughter said that my mom sent her the screenshots and stuff. And my daughter said that her boyfriend, before they knew the details and things, he called it. He was like, your mother probably did something, didn't acknowledge your mom's birthday. And then, it's acknowledging your, my uncle's girlfriend's birthday. And, and it's interesting, my mother feels like I've held her at the bottom, but in terms of ranking, but she's not been, I don't know, it's interesting. You don't want to grow, you don't want to change, don't want to be better. She's come to my city several times and not said cat, dog to me or my children. And I said, hey, I'm in town, can I come by and see you guys for a moment? Nothing. So how, like, love is an action. It's not just a word, it's an action. You show up for people, you are there, you want to be in their lives, you welcome them into your lives. And so if you aren't walking like that, how do you then expect to be revered because you got the title mother or because you have the title family? I'm not going to disrespect you, but I understand what the relationship is. And I feel like as a parent, we brought these children into the world. And so, they didn't ask to be brought here. And so I feel like I'm going to always try to be the bigger person and, keep that relationship open. Does that mean that we might not have a timeout and I might have to take a step back? I may. But it's to protect my peace, because regardless of being a mother, a wife, a sister, a daughter, I'm an individual. And I have to protect me and make sure that I'm okay. Because if I'm not okay, nobody around me is going to be okay. And because when you aren't okay, when you're unhappy, you can't allow others to shine. You can't, celebrate them. You have to make yourself the center of attention and you need the applause and things. And so, I'm just really grateful for this journey. And I'm grateful that,
Here you go, ma'am. Enjoy, yeah?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh,
Enjoy.
wow. Thank you. Look at this. Look, y'all. Oh, my. We got fish and chips. Those are mushy peas, and that's tartar sauce. So that's the tradition here, mushy peas and stuff. And it's basically it's not like a green pea. It's I think it's called a marrow pea or something like that. And it's left on the vine longer than a regular green pea, and so it allows it to do something, and then you can make it like you can cook it, and they say it's like it's more starchy, and so I'm gonna and okay, so apparently too, the thicker fries are called the chips, and the thin fries, like what we're used to from McDonald's and Burger King, are called French fries. I saw a plate go by and it had French fries on it, and I was like, wait, but these say chips, and then there's this, you know, in the menu, the sides, it says French fries. But nevertheless, I'm about to dive into this fish and these chips, and I just want to thank you for being you. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for encouraging me and seeing me. And I'm going to talk to y'all later. Have a great day.